Hello, welcome to Georgia Girl Griddling, also known as G3. Today we're going to be cooking it's called an orange Siracha marmalade chicken, but I'm going to use a Cholula hot sauce because I'm not a real big fan of the teriyaki. So it's going to be the orange Cholula marmalade chicken. We'll decide what we're going to do as a side as we go along. I'm either going to do a fried rice or another vegetable with the chicken. So we'll decide that by the time we get out to the griddle. For now, I'd like to show you all the groceries we have and show you the prep that we're going to do before we actually get out to the griddle and begin to cook. So if you think you'd like to try some honey Cholula orange marmalade chicken, stay tuned. So here are the groceries that are going to be involved. I'm going to kind of walk you through each one of these items and what we're going to be putting in it. And then I will begin the prep. We're going to have, obviously, it's an orange marmalade chicken. We're going to have some orange marmalade, and I'm just using the Great Value. It does have honey because it is a honey Cholula orange marmalade chicken. So we just used the, again, Great Value honey. Again, there we go. The hot sauce, we are using the Cholula since I don't like the Sriracha so much. We're going to use a Hoisin sauce, which you can find this in the Asian section of Walmart or any of your grocery stores. This sauce, you can get it Lee Kum Kee, or what was the other name brand? It's Kikkoman. Also, some soy sauce. We again just used the Great Value soy sauce. Then there's going to be some ground ginger. And there'll be a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder. There's going to be some oranges. We're going to squeeze some fresh squeezed orange juice. We're going to squeeze some lemons for some fresh lemon juice in this recipe. We also have some brown sugar that we're going to use. And obviously we're going to have chicken breast. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the chicken breast in two and pound them out and kind of make my own chicken fillets smaller than these. So let's get started on doing them. We showed you this earlier in the show that we were going to use, instead of Sriracha, we were going to use a Cholula. It is the original brand of the Cholula. It's really good. It kind of has a Mexican flair and taste to it a little bit. So, going to kind of change just a little bit. And it actually calls for the recipe, you can actually use an Asian hot chili sauce, or you can use Sriracha or any hot sauce. I just happen to use the Cholula because it is the one that my family likes best. I'm also not the biggest heat fan. More of the rest of my family, my son and spouse, love the heat, but I'm not quite such a big fan of heat. So this calls for 2 teaspoons. So it's going to be this size. It's going to be 2 teaspoons of this. I'm not really sure if I'm going to put 2 myself. I may go ahead and put 1 for mine, and then see how this turns out, and then we'll next time reconsider doing 2. But since I'm not the hugest heat fan, I'm going to leave this to 1 teaspoon. So you do what your family likes, and you do what hot sauce your family likes. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble shaking it out. And this should give it a good bite, because I did a good full teaspoon. So then let's see what's next. The garlic powder is going to be next, so I got to rinse this out just a little bit and dry it off so that we can use it for the garlic powder. And the garlic powder, it takes, again, 1 teaspoon. And let's see, here it is. Get this. We'll open up both of these and we'll scoop us out a teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of the garlic powder. And next is going to be the onion powder. And the onion powder is half of a teaspoon of the onion powder. Take both the tops off like we did there. And we'll do a half of the onion. And how that is. Then the next is going to be salt. Let me get the salt. I guess that would kind of be a walk of shame if I were outside because I forgot to put the salt out here. And the salt is going to be a teaspoon. So there's a teaspoon of salt we added. All right. And next is going to be the ginger. It's going to be a half a teaspoon of ginger. I'll do the same thing here. We'll take this off and hope that we can get this off. And we'll do a half teaspoon of ginger. All right. And let's see. And that's it. Now what we're going to do is start whisking the ingredients all together. And then we'll separate it out to make the marinade versus the sauce from the end to glaze it with. Okay, so we'll do that next. The first thing we're going to do is create our own chicken cutlets. So first I'm going to take the chicken out and we're going to trim just a little bit of the fat. And then we will cut these in two, and I'll cut and pound them down just a little bit so that I can make them cutlets. They cook quicker. They don't get as dry as quick. They're way more flavorful. So what we'll do is we'll just cut right down the center of this. And I, of course, have gloves on because I don't like messing with chicken. And I want to be able to keep going right along and not let this slow us down, washing hands and things like that. So there's one, there's two. Cut a little more of this off right here, the fat and the tendon. I don't like the tendon in my chicken at all. Usually we'll cut it out. So that's, there's two cutlets for us right there. We'll wipe the board off just a little bit. Again, I'm not a big fan of playing in chicken fat and juices. So now we'll take the second one and do the same thing. Throw that bag away. Goes on there. Cut this fat off. And cut this off here. And this could be done, I'm sure, with, shrimp. This would be a good thing to do with shrimp. So you can use other meats if you don't want to use chicken, if you don't have chicken. So whatever meat you think would be good with it, you can use that. And, oh my goodness, I just peeled that right away. So, let's see, we'll have a little bitty piece there. See if I can get this cut into another fillet. Because I just don't want the big pieces of chicken. It takes longer to cook. They tend to dry out. I may not be as successful in getting this one cut, but just giving it a whirl. I think we'll get it cut. Always make sure you start with a good knife. And there we go. Got another one there. Got a couple of small pieces. If I decide to go with rice, it won't be a problem. It actually would probably be good if we cut it into pieces. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pound it out just a little bit so I can make sure that everything is kind of even thickness so that it will cook in the same amount of time. So bear with me a minute. I'm going to pull my gloves off because I did forget to bring my little pounder out. I try to have all my tools ready. I try to get everything ready when I'm getting ready to cook because I don't like to try to find stuff, hunt stuff out. I just like to have it all there and ready. It makes it a lot simpler, makes it go a lot quicker. You don't tend to forget something in the ingredients, especially in a dish like this that has a lot of ingredients. It really does. It's not a lot of stuff, but it has not a lot of each thing in the dish, but it does have a lot of different things in there. So, oops, my bowl is probably keeping you from being able to see that. Let's see if you can see it a little better. Here we go. We'll pound this out, get it just a little flatter. Everything will cook evenly and nice. This is just about where we need it. There we go. Got a little hole in that. I'm going to get a little more of that fat on the corner there. Some people like to cook with the fat on it. I like to cook with it sometimes, but not when I'm doing cutlets. I don't like to put that on there. People cook with that because it provides extra flavor, and it also keeps it moist. But because we're doing cutlets, they should stay pretty moist anyway, because it's not going to cook them long. And my goodness, with all the ingredients we have in this chicken, I don't think we're going to be lacking in flavor. Some people think chicken tastes plain unless you really season it up. I don't happen to be one of those people. I do think that you need a little seasoning on chicken, but you don't have to over-season. Some people think you do. Okay, we've gotten that one a little thinner, and these three are ready. Let's check this one and see if it is. And then we'll begin to make the sauce, which is going to start with making some fresh squeezed orange juice, basically. We're going to have, I think, about a half a cup, if I remember correctly. And I am working with a recipe today because I haven't made this very many times. And we can actually, I'm going to cut this in two because it's actually very large. And when we pound it out, it's going to make it a little bit bigger. And again, serve more people with less. If you're cooking for a family, especially a large family, this will be cost effective. You'll save yourself money because you can take these big chicken breasts and fillet them and then pound them out. And you've got a pretty good sized breast there now. That's a pretty good sized piece of meat. So that's what I like to do. You can, if you'd like a thicker piece of meat, if you've got some hungry men and some that like a bigger piece of chicken, then by all means keep it thicker. And some people don't even do this portion or show the fillet process. I wanted to show it because some people don't know how to do it. This is going to be a little bit thicker piece of chicken. It's going to take a little bit longer to cook, so I've got to be mindful of that. Okay, now we're going to start getting ready to do the sauce. I'm going to pull my gloves off, and I'm going to get my hands washed up, and I'll be right back with you. I've cleaned up my area just a little bit to get us ready to do the sauce, or it's actually going to be a marinade to begin with. And then we separate it, and you'll use a little cornstarch to thicken it and make a glaze that will go on it at the end of the cooking. So the first thing we're going to need to do is get a half of a cup of squeezed orange juice. So I've gotten a new knife, clean, ready to slice the ends off of the oranges. And then I'm going to use the squeezer here. I'm going to cut it in half and use the squeezer to make us some fresh orange juice. And it will keep the seeds. And give us some fresh orange juice. I got 2 pretty good sized oranges from the store, and I hope that it'll make enough to get us our half a cup. I do believe it will. If for some reason it doesn't, then I've got a little Donald Duck orange juice. If you've never heard of Donald Duck orange juice, in my opinion, it is the best orange juice that they make. It is wonderful. So let's see where we're getting with this. And for those of you who have been following my channel, who see my new apron today, I got that in this week. I ordered it from Zulily, and you can put your logo and such on it. And I've even got my name down on the bottom corner. I'm not sure my real name, which is Janet, for those of you who don't know. I'm trying to get it down where you can see it. Terrible camera. I'm doing the camera myself today with a tripod. So I apologize that I didn't give such great camera work then. But I will put in the link below where I got the apron and ordered it. So that way, if somebody would like to order one for themselves, you can do that. I am huge on wearing aprons. I got it from my dad. My dad owned restaurants all of my life. He cooked. He had restaurants that were family style restaurants where he served meat and 3. He served sea fish and steaks and just anything, hamburgers, you name it. Then he had specialty restaurants that were barbecue was one of them. And oh my, he had some of the best barbecue ever. And my father passed away 22 years ago. And before he passed away, there were 2 things that I didn't get that I wanted of his recipes. And one was his spaghetti. He made everything from scratch. He made the noodles, the sauce, and it was an all-day sauce event. The sauce cooked all day. And then the other was his candy jams. His candy jams I knew kind of because I had watched over his shoulder and cooked with him so much that I could kind of guess what was in them, and I did. I finally put them together, and maybe I'll do a video on those one day. There's not much you can cook on the griddle with those, and my show here is mostly to give you some different recipes other than the smash burgers and the lo meins and fried rice, stuff like that. I'm trying to give you some other things that you can do besides those things on the griddle, because the griddle you can do anything. I could do the candy jams, especially on mine because I do have an air fryer with mine. I have the 36-inch Blackstone with the 2 air fryers. So I could do my candy jams. I could boil them out there, you know, because I parboil them just a little bit just to get them soft. Then I cut them up and, of course, put all the ingredients in them. And then I put them in the oven to candy them. So I could do that. But I'll see. If enough of you would like to see that recipe, let me know. Just put in the comments if you've got some ideas of other recipes that you'd like me to try that are something different than the typical smash burger. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Okay, so we got to have a half a cup of this. Now, wow. So, if your oranges are the same size as my oranges, you're going to get yourself a half a cup. I've got a 1/2 cup. I'm gonna pour that in my bowl to get ready to mix. As you can tell, I'm right here at my sink. I'm rinsing everything out as we go along, washing my hands, trying to get everything ready for the next step, so that you're not watching a 2-hour video. So I will, next, we've got to have some lemonade, or some lemon. I say lemonade because we've got to have fresh squeezed lemons just like the oranges. So I'm gonna get that ready right there, and we'll squeeze up some lemon juice. You don't have to have but 2 tablespoons of squeezed lemons. So I've got just, it's a pretty large lemon that I got. So we'll squeeze that and get us probably more than our tablespoon. I didn't do this with the oranges because I don't usually have a lot of problem getting the oranges to squeeze out. You can squeeze them almost by hand. But what I do with my lemons and limes when I cut those and use those, is I roll them first. This loosens up like the membranes inside of there, and it allows you to get more juice. Sometimes you can even put them in the microwave for about 10 to 12 seconds and roll them too. Not that we need to get a lot more juice out of this because, like I said, we're only looking at 2 tablespoons. But it's just a practice that I got into. And I thought, you know, teaching you guys, and I'm not going to cut the other end off because I'm only going to use half of this. And I may cut the others for our iced tea. But since there's not got to have a whole lot here, I think we can get it in a half. I hope. If not, then we'll do it all. And I have a couple more lemons. I always have backup. I kind of do like CJ does with his bacon, puts a couple of extra pieces for nibbling and for burning. I actually got a couple of extra lemons for tea and such for this. And again, apologize for all the as I clean up. I'm a big clean as you go person. I don't like to make a huge mess and have to clean it all up at the end. I'm not one that likes somebody to cook in my kitchen who makes a horrible mess. In just a second, I'm trying to get my tablespoon. There it is right there. This may not be enough, but we'll see. It may be enough for 1 tablespoon, so I may have to use the other. That indeed is probably going to be the case. Yep, just a fraction. So I'll see if I can squeeze out just a little by hand. I think that's enough. And I can put this lemon on a paper towel until I can get it put back in the refrigerator. We'll sit it right there. Okay, now the next thing we've got to do is get us a cup of the marmalade. So we're going to do that next. Now we're going to do a cup of our, 1/2 cup of our marmalade. So there's a brand new fresh jar. I've got a spoon, and we're going to dish out a 1/2 cup. So let's get going. Yummy. Love orange marmalade. You can see all the big pieces of orange in that. Let's see what we've got right here. Kind of try to smash it down in there so it's, you know, a real 1/2 cup, and that pretty much looks like that was it. That's good. That's perfect. So we will, and you can see on the spoon, the back of the spoon, can you see that? The orange pieces and such. If you've never used this, it is delicious. I think it's going to be really, really good with this dish. All right. And we're going to do the honey next. So we'll pour that in here and get it poured into the mix next. So here's the honey. We're going to add the honey to the recipe now, and it calls for a 1/4 cup of honey. If I can get this lid off, well, this is going to be difficult to get out of here. Let me get me a spatula that I didn't have to scrape this out because it will take a little bit. Alrighty, I'm just going to leave the lid off and squeeze it like this in there, and let's see, 1/4 cup. It's a slow process, so let's see what we can talk about while we wait. How many of you have Blackstones? And if so, What model do you have? And how long have you had it? I've had my Blackstone, well, I've had my a griddle for 3 years, and I've had my Blackstone griddle for more than a year, and I've cooked 3 times more on my Blackstone than I ever did on the other one. So tell us about what you've got and how long you've been cooking on it. What's your favorite food, maybe? What is your favorite dish? Maybe you have something that you really like that's yummy, yummy like this. I'd love to hear about it. It didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take, did it? It's a little bit longer in trying to get it out of the container than it is. It'd have been good if I could have eyeballed that. Let's see if I can get a little help from my spoon. Alrighty, so that gets us our 1/4 cup of honey we need. Now we're going to start with the Hoisin sauce. So that's what we're going to add to it next. So now we'll add the hoisin. The hoisin calls for 1 tablespoon. Yeah, and the soy is 2. So give us 1 hoisin. So we'll measure that up. Let me bring my bowl over here because now we are working more in the bowl and less on the cutting board. So it's pretty thick, the hoisin is. It's kind of like a soy sauce. So it's, and it is Asian. So let's get that all in there. And my lid, and put my lid back on there. Whoops, upside down. And some of these things do require to be refrigerated after you open. Of course, the marmalade does. Yeah, refrigerate after open with this. And get a little, let's see if I've got a teeny tiny little spatula that I can get this out of here with. Because it comes out kind of as slow as the honey did, because it's real thick. So, okay, we've gotten that out. Let me rinse out the utensil because now we have to add the soy sauce. So as you can see, that's kind of why I'm considering using fried rice with this, because it's a very Asian inspired recipe. So we're going to use the soy sauce next. And it's 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And for you guys, I'm going to put down in the link, I'm going to put the recipe too, for those of you who are not putting or writing down the ingredients right now until you see it and see if you think it's something that you would like. So we'll do that. Let's see. And then it calls for 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So let me dry up this and get my brown sugar. And we will put sugar in. I love brown sugar, and it doesn't matter in this recipe whether you use light brown sugar or dark brown sugar. I usually prefer the dark brown because that's what I use on the candy jams. And that's mostly what I use brown sugar for. I don't use a lot of brown sugars. I don't do a lot of bacon. I'm not a huge sweet eater. 1 tablespoon. And so you can see this is going to be sweet and hot and in a second. Okay. So that's got the 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Now comes the hot sauce. So we're going to put the hot sauce in next, and we'll talk a little bit about that hot sauce too and what the difference in it and what it calls for. Now we're going to whisk the ingredients together and then get ready and put them, 1/3 cup of them, into a gallon freezer bag because we're going to make it a marinade. You want to mix it really good. That's why I put it in a little bit bigger bowl, so I'd have a little space to get everything mixed up, because that jelly to begin with, that honey, all of that is kind of stiff, and it takes a minute to get it all whisked together because you want to make sure you get all those seasonings in that good honey and good marmalade, and so that you have a good marinade and sauce, because you're going to baste the chicken while you cook it. This won't take very long. And then you're going to heat some of this up with a little cornstarch for a final glaze on the chicken. Okay, so we want to add 1/4 cup of oil, which we have over here. And then now we want to add 1/3 cup of this sauce to that oil. And then we're going to put it in this freezer bag. And we're going to add the chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and get a glove on real quick and put the chicken in the bag, and then we'll get ready to add the marinated oil. So give me just 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, now we're back. We've got this whisked up really good. I want to give it one more little whisk before I go to pour it in the measuring cup. We're going to do 1/3 cup in the chicken with 1/4 cup of oil. So let me get this poured up. All right, I could go for a little bit more. Go for about 1/2 cup, because there's a pretty good bit of sauce, even though we mix it up at the end. So we're going to put the marinade down in there. Let me get my spatula to scrape out the yummies from this, because we want to get all the yummies, because those are all the flavors and stuff that we just poured in there. We don't want to lose any of them. Okay, that takes care of that. Now we want to get the oil poured in, and the oil's going to help marinate and hold in the flavor. And so I'm going to set that here. Then what I'm going to do is seal the bag down. Very tight. I'm going to close it, and then we're going to kind of mix this all in the chicken. Okay. And this marinade, you can do it, I would suggest a minimum of 4 hours. If you don't do it for 4, do it overnight. And I'm doing mine for a few, 4 or 5 hours. And then I will grill it, put it on the griddle. All right, so now I'm gonna put the lid on this and set it aside. And when I come back, we will show you how you separate this out and use the cornstarch with this for the sauce, for the marinade at the end, and then how we separate the other portion of it to baste the chicken with while it's cooking, okay? So if you think it's gonna look good, stay tuned. Come back with us as we hit the griddle outside, okay? All right, we're back and getting ready to start putting the chicken on the griddle. We've put our 2 teaspoons of cornstarch in the marinade that we made. We didn't pour it off the chicken and use it. We used what we didn't pour over the chicken, and we thickened it. And we're letting that get warm a little bit and hot and thickening up before we start laying down the chicken. The next thing I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to lay down or pour out the marinade and pat dry the chicken that we're going to lay down here in just a moment. So the first one's on low medium. I've got the second one on low. Between the two, it'll kind of get to a point where we're in the ballpark of about 375, 400. We'll check that as well to see where we're at. We use the Blackstone's infrared, and it also has a thermometer too that you can use. So let's see what we're at right now. This 411 right there, and this is 406, 10, 13, 10, 14. So we're in the ballpark. We can cut this down probably just a hair, just to keep it where we won't go much above 400. Get a good sear on the chicken and get it done really quick. So give me just a moment to take this marinade off and get ready to lay that chicken down to cook. All right? Okay, we're back. I've now got the chicken pulled out of the bag. It's all on this plate. Got a paper towel on it. We're going to empty some of those juices off. We're going to pat the chicken dry so that it's not quite so wet when it goes on the grill. Let's see. Put a few pieces in here. One more small piece. And that. Dry it off. And, let's see, we will get on another clean plate so that it won't get wet again in that. So we'll put it here. Right there. Our sauce is still on the back, as you can see, doing its marinade. And, or not marinated, sorry, but it is getting thick and warm, which is what we want it to do. Didn't get that tendon cut loose right there, but that'll be all right. Let's see. Got that big old piece that we had. Alrighty. Lay that on the top. And we've got one more. And I'll check the sauce and then we'll see about laying this chicken down to cook. And I did do the fried rice is what I decided to do, but my spouse is doing that inside, helping me out just a little. I had a migraine today, and so I didn't feel real well. Didn't even know if I was going to do this. Felt a little earlier when I was doing the prep. So I am. See if I can bring this up where it might, because it's supposed to be getting thick and it's not quite thick enough yet. So it's thicker. And hopefully it'll come on up there in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and start laying down a little bit of oil. You don't need a lot. And it runs and I have to chase it. Keep it up here where it can get a little warmer. Don't need all that much. We'll see how much we can get over on this side. I don't like too much. Alrighty. And so I think I'm going to begin to lay the chicken down, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, here we go. Ooh, nice sear. And just lay this big piece that we had right across that middle right there. These little pieces can go over here. Ooh, that smells good. It smells like you're in a Chinese place. And there we go right there. Alright, so we're off to the races. We're going to leave this on this side for about 4 or 5 minutes and then we'll do a flip. Notice today I don't have my other cart over here, which is usually what I put my camera on. I don't have anybody helping me record. And I also, usually if I do, I put it up there and stand it on the top of my Blackstone cart, which I left today over there. And again, back here. And so you might not see me a lot today. You'll just hear my voice. But Georgia Girl Griddling is here. So G3 is on the job. Woohoo! That got quick. Hot quick. Yeah. It's a difference in moving it up just a little bit and how thick it got. So quick. Yeah, so now we can take it and move it over. Let me get my heat glove so I can move that over. And when I do, I'll show you guys how thick it is. So it's really thick. Of course, this handle gets super duper hot. All right. I mean, it's almost like a syrup now. See? So that's the sauce you want to drizzle over it. And we're going to put that over here, which is just a very low, because the second eye, remember, which is right here, is on low. So that should just help keep that warm for us. Take a peek at the underside of these chickens. Oh, looking beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful. I think I'm going to move. Let's see how that one's doing. Pretty good. Everything's doing pretty good. I kind of move things over just a little bit. Move this here. Trying to find my hot spots. Well, yeah, I can turn that on over. Remember we talked about the thinner pieces would cook faster. Ooh, that one got done really quick. I think this one's a little bit thicker, so we're going to bring it down here. There we go. That's pretty though. Look at that. That's really pretty. It won't take us long now. It's pretty close to being done. We want to put a little of the sauce that we had that's not thickened. It was left in here in the bowl. We want to, do a little sauce over the chicken as it cooks, which this has got sugars in it. So it's gonna leave a little sugar on the grill, and you'll have to clean that off with just a little bit of water, but make sure you keep your grill on when you clean it with the water so that it can dry off good. You might want to pour a little of that into that. Instead of the marinade, that got pretty darn thick. I'm assuming that jelly is also what thickens that up so much. Okay? Let's check these others and see if they're ready to turn. Yes, ma'am. Looking pretty. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. That big thick piece, and that looks like the hot spot on the grill tonight. This one's not quite so hot. Let's swap around and see if we can't get that. We're going to put some more sauce on these, and then I'm going to put the rest, I think, in the glaze. So, might not have a lot left. Got quite a bit of chicken. All of that last little bit left in there. And we'll stir it up. All right, smells good. Delicious. And I would expect that these will not take too long. These little bitty pieces. Gotta keep an eye on the underside. That's good. Looking good. Alright. Give me about 3 to 5 minutes. We'll check them again. Hey, it's been a couple of minutes, and I want to give it a look again, see what we're looking like. Yeah, looking good. I got a little candied on the bottom almost. Yeah, looks good. Not got brown quite yet. Let's see if this one has. No. A lot, I think they're cooking a little more in the juices now. Take just a little bit of this off. A lot of that. You see how much sugar? Trying to get some of that out from under it so we can not burn, get the chicken black just from that, but we can get it done. Instead of burnt looking, it'll be pretty. Alright, let's cook it again. This little piece I would have to imagine is getting pretty close to being done. So we'll take a temp on it and see. $165 is where we want to be. It's got about 10 more degrees, so we'll let it come up a little more. Give a check on these others that are bigger. They're cooking just as good. Don't want to get it against the, yeah, we're doing good. Oh yeah. And this is the big bear right here. Oh yeah, there's no way that's... Woohoo! That one seems to be plenty done. Woohoo! All that sauce on it. Alright, that one's ready. I'm going to pull it. We're using our fine china tonight. Yep. Fine china. Woohoo! And make sure that nothing's burning on the other side. No, we got a lot of good sauce on there. That one's just got to be done here in a second. This is a little bit more where the heat is. So we're going to pull them there. We're almost done. And I'll take the inside so we'll be able to see the final product when we get in there. I know that's done. Yes, sir. This won't be long from being done, but this little one's done. Alrighty. That one in there. Not much. I think we'll be done in just a few minutes. Let's give it about 2 more minutes and we'll check it out and call it done. And there's the final product. We're going to give it a try just in a little bit, but that's your final product with the sauce on the top. So we'll give it a try and we'll tell you how good it is, whether we recommend it or not. Well, I'm going to tell you, that was A++. The first thing that you taste is the orange. And obviously it has a lot of orange with the orange juice and the orange marmalade. My spouse said the first thing she tasted was the honey. So you can taste everything. Of course, I did only put 1 teaspoon of the Cholula Hot Sauce, so there wasn't very much heat at all in it. I mean, 0. And like I told you guys earlier, I'm a wimp when it comes to hot sauce, but my family, they like heat. Well, there was really not a whole lot for me. 2 or 3 bites I could taste just a tad, but not much. So I'll probably up the Cholula next time to the 2 tablespoons, or I'm sorry, 2 teaspoons that it's intended to be. But other than that, it was perfect. 5 out of 5. The chicken was moist. The rice was wonderful. As you can see, I of course didn't have a picture of that first since she made it on the inside while I was doing the chicken on the griddle. And typically I would have done that, but I've never done chicken fried rice and or not chicken fried rice, the fried rice. And I also, like I said, had the migraine, so she went ahead and did that. But both were perfect. The meal was wonderful. If you like Asian-inspired food, this is a wonderful Asian dish with just what it says. You know, you get that orange flavor. Of course, if you want the heat that is in the name of it, whether it be Siracha or Cholula or whatever, then you do need to add the 2 teaspoons. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and if you will, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm kind of new getting started with this, but what I intend to do is try to do the videos on things that are not done quite so much, like the smash burgers and the stir fry and stuff like that. Even though it wasn't a stir fry, but it was an Asian dish. Anyhow, I hope to see you all back again. And also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I do new videos. And please tell your friends and family about me, and see if they'll join us and subscribe too. Thanks for now, and hope you all have a wonderful night.